The lights of the grand stage glimmer across thousands of faces. The crowd is buzzing with excitement. Cameras sweep across the audience, and the judges settle into their seats. You can see Simon Cowell, curious as ever, watching the next act walk slowly onto the stage. A group of young men and women, maybe 15 in total, wearing matching white shirts and blue scarves. Their movements are graceful, careful, almost poetic. The audience notices something strange. They walk differently. They do not speak to the host. Instead, one of the members gently raises a small board that reads, "We are the Silent Souls Choir from Manila." The crowd murmurs. Simon tilts his head, intrigued. Sofia Vergara leans forward. Heidi Klum smiles kindly, while Howie Mandel watches closely, his hand on his chin. The host, with a soft smile, speaks into the mic. "You're the Silent Souls Choir from Manila. Are you ready?" The group nods. Not a single sound leaves their lips. The camera pans to the audience, and someone whispers, "They're deaf." Simon's eyebrows rise. The tension builds. How can a deaf choir perform on a global talent show where music is everything? What will they do? What will they show? Then, silence. The lights dim. A single spotlight shines on the center stage. The music begins, not for them to hear, but for us. For the audience. For the judges. But they don't rely on sound. They rely on rhythm, on memory, on feeling. The conductor, a young woman with gentle eyes, raises her hands. Every member of the choir watches her intently. Her hands move, not in time with beats they can hear, but in time with emotion they can feel. They begin to sign, not with words, but with gestures that seem to float like poetry. Their faces move with every rise and fall of the melody. Their eyes speak. Their hands dance. Their silence sings. The screen zooms in. A tear rolls down one girl's cheek as she signs the lyrics of a song the world knows well, "You Raise Me Up." But they are not singing it, they are living it. The entire stage feels alive. The audience begins to cry. You can feel it, the kind of silence that carries more power than any scream. Simon leans forward, completely captivated. His eyes are wet. Sophia covers her mouth in disbelief. Howie whispers, "Oh my God." The camera captures the emotion. 1,000 eyes watching, but no one dares to speak. The song ends with the choir members raising their hands slowly to the sky, palms open, tears streaming down their faces. They bow. The lights fade. For a moment, the world is completely still. Then, the audience rises. A standing ovation thunders through the hall. The applause is so loud, it shakes the walls, but they can't hear it. They only feel the vibration through the floor. They smile, knowing that for once, the world heard their silence. Simon stands. His lips tremble slightly as he looks at them. "I don't think I've ever seen anything like this," he says softly. "You've just reminded all of us what true music is. It's not about sound. It's about heart." Sophia is crying openly. "That was the most beautiful performance I've ever seen," she says, her voice breaking. "I could feel every word you signed. You made me believe in miracles." Heidi wipes her eyes. "You don't need to hear to touch hearts," she says. "You already touched millions." Howie smiles, shaking his head in awe. "You've changed everything we thought music was," he says. "And I think the world needs to see this again and again." Simon looks at the group. His hand hovers over the golden buzzer. The crowd begins to chant, "Golden, golden, golden." The members of the choir look at one another, unsure of what's happening. Their translator quickly signs to them, explaining the chant. The youngest member, a boy, maybe 12 years old, begins to cry. He signs to his friend, "They love us." Simon closes his eyes, takes a deep breath, and slams his hand down on the golden buzzer. Golden confetti rains down from the ceiling like a waterfall of dreams. The audience screams. The music swells. The choir members look up in wonder, seeing golden flakes fall over them. They can't hear the song playing, but they can feel the energy, the vibration of thousands cheering for them. Some drop to their knees, crying. Others look toward the judges, signing, "Thank you." The translator's voice trembles as she translates their message. They say thank you. They say this is for every deaf child who was told they could never belong on a stage. Simon walks up to them. He shakes the conductor's hand and signs, "Beautiful." The choir gasps. He learned that one word just for them. They sign back, "Thank you." The camera cuts to a montage, clips of their life in Manila. Children rehearsing in a small church, without instruments, feeling the rhythm through touch. Their teacher, a woman who lost her hearing at 10, teaching them how to feel the vibration of sound through their skin. They practice by placing their hands on a speaker, memorizing the timing of each note. They rehearse in rain, in heat, sometimes with no power, but they never stop. One of the members says through a sign interpreter, "We don't hear music, but we feel God in it." And that is enough. The screen fades back to the present, the golden confetti still falling. The crowd is still cheering. Simon has tears in his eyes. The host says softly, "Ladies and gentlemen, your golden buzzer act, the Silent Souls Choir from Manila." The audience roars again. The lights shimmer gold. The choir gathers in a circle, signing to each other, "We did it. We really did it." Then the music transitions into a slower, more emotional melody as the video dives deeper into their story. They come from a small community in Manila, one of the poorest areas of the city. Many of them lost their hearing due to illness, some from birth, some from accidents. Yet all of them share one dream, to be heard without hearing, to speak without voice. They started singing together, not to perform, but to heal. Their choir began in a small church where the sound of traffic drowned everything, but inside, their silence was sacred. One of the girls, Maria, 17 years old, lost her hearing after a severe fever when she was 8. She once loved to sing, but after losing her hearing, she stopped talking entirely. Her parents worried she would never smile again. Then one day, a teacher from a local school for the deaf invited her to join a signing choir. She said yes. The first time she performed, she felt the vibrations of the drum in her chest, and smiled. That smile never left her again. The choir's conductor, Liza, is 28. She was a professional musician before she lost her hearing in an accident. Instead of giving up, she learned sign language and began teaching deaf children how to express music visually. Her dream was simple, to show the world that music is not limited to sound. And today, on that stage, her dream came true. The video cuts to interviews, Simon saying softly, "I think what they've done is one of the most emotional things I've ever seen. You don't need to hear to create something magical. You just need to feel." The clip goes viral overnight. Social media explodes with love. Millions share the video, saying, "No sound. Just soul." The world can't stop watching. Celebrities, musicians, and deaf communities around the globe call it a historic moment. The choir becomes a global symbol of courage and inclusion. They are invited to perform internationally, in schools for the deaf, in charity concerts, and even at the United Nations. Their message echoes, "You don't have to hear to have a voice." The documentary-style narration continues, showing the impact of their golden buzzer moment. Deaf children in rural areas begin to dream again. Parents cry watching their kids sign along to songs. Teachers use their performance as inspiration. It's not just a talent show moment anymore, it's a movement. Months later, during the finals, the Silent Souls Choir returns. The lights dim again. They perform a new piece, one they created themselves, using nothing but sign, rhythm, and expression. The audience already knows, this is not about winning anymore. This is about showing the world what love sounds like, even in silence. Their final performance ends in a breathtaking tableau, hands raised high, forming a heart. The audience rises again. Simon, smiling proudly, whispers to Sophia, they already won the moment they walked on that stage. As the video nears its end, the narration softens. Sometimes, the loudest voice comes from silence. Sometimes, the purest song has no sound. And sometimes, the greatest performance comes from those who cannot hear applause but can feel love more deeply than anyone else. This is not just a story about a choir. It's a story about hope. About faith. About the human spirit that refuses to be silent. So the next time you hear music, remember, it's not the sound that matters. It's the soul behind it. Thank you for watching Story Sprout.